What's going on, guys? Today we're going to be talking about the Canon R8 versus the Canon R6 Mark II. I first want to say that the Canon R8 is $1,000 cheaper than the Canon R6 Mark II. The price coming in for the R8 is $1,500 and the price for the R6 Mark II is $2,500. They're both using the same 24 megapixel sensor and they're very similar. So let's jump into it and see what this $1,000 difference provides you in the terms of features, or if you should just skip all the extra features and go with the cheaper R8. The Canon R8 body is smaller. It's more comparable to the Canon RP, and the R6 is more of your standard size camera body, more in the range of like the Canon R5. The Canon R8 does not have IBIS, it just has the digital IS or lens IS if you a lens that has IS built in. The Canon R6 does come with IBIS, so if you are shooting video, you're gonna have smoother videos and not so wobbly. But for me, I don't really have any issues just using the digital IS and lens IS in the camera. I feel that if you're vlogging yourself, you get a pretty decent stable shot just by using the digital IS. The Canon R8 only has one card slot, where the R6 Mark II does have dual card slots. So if you are shooting something that's, once in a lifetime, say like a wedding or something along those lines, that you're not going to be able to go back and shoot it if, say, you're using the Canon R8 and your memory card gets corrupt or just dies out. So I would say that if you are shooting something similar to that, that the R6 Mark II might be the way to go. Having multiple copies of your files is definitely ideal. Nobody ever said that, yeah, one copy of my files is better than having two. The Canon R8 also uses a smaller LPE17 battery. And for me personally, I'm not a huge fan of this battery. It's small, you're gonna have to buy multiple of them. But the Canon R6 Mark II uses the bigger LPE6 battery, and personally, I've had these batteries for years. I've accumulated a couple of them. If you are using another camera and you're picking up either the R8 or the R6 Mark II, the R6 Mark II might have the same battery that your A camera does have. So it's definitely something to look into if you do want to save some money. Like if you have an R5 and then you're picking up one of these two cameras, I would suggest you just going with the R6 Mark II because it's going to have the same battery. You're going to be able to use these batteries in both cameras. And if you are traveling, it's one charger. You're not going to have to bring multiple different chargers for each individual battery. The Canon R8 also doesn't have the ability to shoot RAW, where the Canon R6 Mark II does have the ability to shoot RAW, but you're going to have to buy an external recorder, which is not really in the range of saving money. You would have to spend more money to buy this. So that's something that you might want to look into. The R8 doesn't have a joystick like the R6 Mark II does have, but you can just change the focusing modes by touching the screen and it's pretty much good to go. I don't really have any issues with this. If you are shooting in cold climates, that you might have a bigger issue with this. For me personally, I barely ever use the knob on my R5, even touching the screen to focus. I find that the eye autofocus or face autofocus just works. When I'm shooting portraits, I don't really have any issues with this. With both cameras, you're gonna get 6K oversampled 4K. That means is you're gonna get a 6K image and they're gonna cram all that into a 4K outputted video file, which ultimately is just going to give you more detail and it's going to look a little bit better. Why would you go for the Canon R8 versus the Canon R6 Mark II? I honestly think more of the question should be, why would you get the Canon R6 Mark II over the R8? If you're doing a lot of video work and a lot of run and gun shooting, that the IBIS may come in handy for you. Your shots are going to be a lot more stable with the ability to use digital IS, the IBIS, and lens IS. Your shots are going to be a lot more stable. Not to say that, lens IS and digital IS isn't any good, but it's just another step of stabilization. The dual card slots are definitely key if you're shooting anything that's once in a lifetime. if you're shooting weddings or you're traveling, you can't really go back and recreate these moments. So if you are shooting something like this, I would definitely suggest you picking up the Canon R6 Mark II just to be able to have that backup and peace of mind. The R6 is bigger than the Canon R8. If you do have larger hands, it might be more comfortable in your hand to just have a bigger camera. I definitely would suggest you play around with both cameras before picking one up just to see what's more comfortable. The reason to get the R8 over the R6 Mark II is, you save $1,000. Are the features that I just named off worth $1,000 to you? Because if they're not, then save yourself $1,000 and go with the R8. But like I always recommend, go to the store, play with the cameras, see which one you like better. Maybe in a couple months, 6 months from now, that the Canon R8 you might be able to snag on a deal or maybe used, and get that price down from 1,500 maybe to like 1,200, and then this camera is an absolute steal. For me, since I use the R5 and I already have a bunch of batteries, that I would say the R6 Mark II is the better choice for me. If I didn't have a camera and I was just looking to upgrade from like an older camera or whatnot, I would probably recommend the R8. I definitely think it's a huge bang for buck. And yeah, the features to me aren't really worth $1,000. So if you are just, jumping into photography, want a full frame camera to play around with, I definitely would say the R8 is the go-to camera. That's all I have for this quick little video. If you did like this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And until the next video, peace.